Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Aggieville Alleycats podcast, where come rain, shine, or anything in between, we're here to deliver to you the Kansas State sporting news that you so love. I'm Ace Edwards, right alongside
Connor Baltazar.
And today we have two very, very special guests joining the show, returning the favor from when they graciously let us on Wildcat 91.9, which, yeah, that was one of the experiences of all time. Not sure why they ever let us on the radio.
It was
But
a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. But ladies and gentlemen, I would like to represent and present to you the pride of Wildcat 91.9, the hosts of the great series Willie's Archive, as well as one of my personal favorite K-State podcasts of all time. And that is the Shake and Blake Show, represented by John and Blake. How are you two doing today, guys?
Oh my gosh, you guys are too kind. I'm doing pretty well. You guys are too kind. You're flattering us.
That ultimate grand entrance right there. That was just amazing. But so far the day's been going well. Just moved out of my apartment, so I'm exhausted at this point.
Stressful times.
There's no better time to do an episode than when you're running on fumes. Ask 3 a.m. us recording like our 10th episode for the third time.
Yeah. Because gosh, we lost an entire recording because the audio was so messed up. So
we
got all the way done, and I was like, all right, let's go to bed. And I was like, wait, let's make sure this worked. And I listened to it, and I was like, oh man.
I stayed up until 4 a.m. editing the audio. But that's neither here nor there, and hopefully I will never have to experience that pain again. I definitely will. But just getting to know both of you, what really got both of you into doing the Shake and Blake show?
So I guess I can start. So going into the fall semester of 2021, I knew I wanted to do stuff with the radio station. I got the chance to talk to Ian Punnett, the faculty advisor for Wildcat 91.9. He mentioned that they have an open spot on Fridays, and I was like, well, sure. I mean, I guess I'll take it. At the time, I didn't have a co-host. I mean, I just known John a little bit from work. And I did my first show. I mean, like I wrote it up. I had like over 3,000 words typed in this notepad. I tried to plan everything out for an hour of talking, and it just doesn't work like that. I was still 10 minutes short, I think. You couldn't pay me like $1 million to listen to the last 10 minutes because it was so cringy. My gosh.
You can't pay us to listen to our first episode either.
Yeah, unfortunately I do have it, but it's never going to be heard anywhere. But and then the next week I did it with one of my friends. And then I was working, I think it was like a soccer game or something. And John was sitting next to this dude we work with, Nick, and Nick was telling him about how he had a show at the radio station. You just got to talk. And John was like, oh, that would be cool. Well, I was like, I'll just hit up John and see if he wants to do it. I text him, ask if I'm just like, hey, this is like that one guy from work that you give weird looks to, which he does do.
That's what I do. Yep.
But it makes it seem weird, but it makes sense. Anyway, I asked him to do the show. He said, yeah. And we've been doing it ever since. So I'd like to think it's been going pretty well. Hopefully, John didn't feel coerced.
I was just thinking of a time you were on your own. It's like, oh man, it's like a public speech type of presentation you're putting out on the radio. I mean, that must have been brutal, but
yeah, because it was after the Oklahoma State game. When yeah, that wasn't very fun. So yeah, and then I also picked every single NFL game and talked about it. Like I tried to give myself a bunch of content, but it's just talking by yourself. I don't know how those radio people do it. I'm just not that kind of person to like be like. My brain can't like do all that at the same time. It's just too much. It's
Definitely
just too much.
Yeah. Yeah. So for both of you, I guess we'll start with John on this question. What was the start of your K-State fandom?
Oh, so this goes a long ways. Back to when I was born. I was in 2002. Ironically, I was born in Lawrence, but my parents raised me a Wildcat, and my dad grew up the last what is it now, 20, so I think 20 years he's been the associate volleyball coach at Kansas State. So it's been a long while that I've been in Manhattan and been enjoying it ever since. Always been wearing purple. Almost seems as if I was been wearing it every single day. So It been a big K-State fan for a long time.
John, I've been meaning to challenge you to see who has more K-State merch in our closets. I think.
What about Aggieville Alleycat merch? Who wins that competition?
Well,
On the spot.
On the spot.
Well,
give me some time. Give me some time, fellas.
Check out the official Aggieville Alleycats merch store.
that was a great plug. Great. This is top tier content. Oh my god. Well, I guess I'll go ahead and go. So I think it was pretty similar to John. It started from pretty much from birth. I'm like a third generation K-State student. So my dad has had season tickets since like the 90s or something, and they're like probably the most underrated seats in the stadium, because they're like the upper deck, but it's the first row of the upper deck, so there's nobody in front of you, and it's also right on the 50-yard line. So you kind of get a view of the whole stadium. It's pretty chill.
You get the all 22 view.
Yeah, pretty much, but just from like the east side. But yeah, I've been doing that. Going to K-State games pretty much every year. I've been to some pretty good ones. I went to the quadruple overtime Texas A&M game. I was there when they won the Big 12 championship. That was really cool. Man, there's been some tough ones too. Like after the 2012 season and stuff. But yeah, I've always been a K-State fan. It's just the family atmosphere. It's just it's a truly special place.
That quadruple overtime game was crazy. I was there as well for that game, and that was one of the best game experiences I think.
It was so loud too. That was probably one of the loudest. Yeah.
Awesome.
My ears were bleeding so much from that game.
Also, I was the only one that wasn't there. Sick.
Yeah.
Wait, you hadn't even been converted yet.
No, you're right.
I had to look
Mizzou.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh,
Mizzou still haven't even left the Big 12 at that point.
Really?
Yeah, by that A&M quadruple overtime game, that would have been that last season that they were there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Have you guys ever lost your voice completely after a game?
Completely?
Yeah, maybe not completely, but like I remember, I think after the Texas game in 2012, my voice was like pretty like crackly, and it was like almost gone. It wasn't quite gone, but
Oklahoma 19 for me.
Oh yeah, that's fair enough.
I've gotten pretty close a few times. Oklahoma 19 was one. I'm trying to think about other ones.
Baylor this last year, because one of those guys was trying to fight me.
Baylor this last year. I think OU this last year as well. I think we were definitely yelling at the direction of the OU sideline a lot.
And that's all we'll say. That's all we'll say. All right. So since you've started the show, there have obviously been a couple of highlights and admittedly a lot of lowlights for K-State sports. But what has been your favorite moment that both of you have covered on the show?
I think our episode when Bruce Weber retired, I thought that was pretty good. We hadn't done one in a while, so we had a lot of stuff to cover. But I think that was pretty good. Man, just stuff to cover during the show. I mean, obviously our stuff with Willie Archive is a lot of fun, but that's kind of a cop-out answer because we pick good games on purpose. There's just not a lot with the basketball season. That's really that great. That's a lot of stuff. I guess Aoka Lee's 61 points. That was definitely really fun.
Yeah. Your guys' intro for that was amazing, by the way.
the tribunal ceremony. Yeah. I've set a high bar for whipping out the tribunal ceremony. I don't know what it's going to take to do it again. Probably.
He sets a high bar when it comes to introductions for sure.
I didn't even know how I came up with that. I was just like, what if I just like, and then I just went with it. I spent like random
thought that pops up in your head, and
yeah,
and you're just like, all right, we're just.
I did it the same day we did the show. I remember spending like looking up. I was like, I spent so much time listening to Gregorian chant music. I don't even know what the language was, but Some of them were too happy, but I finally found one that fit the vibe, and I think it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So this is a continuation of the question for Wacky Segment of the Week last week, where we posed ourselves the question of if you had to put together a band of 4 current K-State athletes, and just who would it be and what would their band name to be?
Oh, it's current K-State athletes? Okay.
Yes.
So like a
Oh, I
4-piece
threw you a
band?
curveball.
Okay. Well, okay, I'm not gonna lie. I thought about it. I was like, Colin Klein, he just seems like a bass player. Like after just call it, but okay, we gotta think of I mean, I don't know if you have any ideas, John, but Deuce Vaughn seems like he's a pretty good singer based on that mic'd up. So maybe throw him on some vocals,
We both had Deuce singing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I put Deuce Vaughn at vocals. If Nigel Pack stayed, I would have had a great lineup. It would have been Deuce Vaughn, Ayoka, Nigel Pack, and then Leah Carter on the volleyball team. It could have been Ayoka and the 3 midgets, or
Oh my god.
Star-studded cast. You see, mine was also height based when I did it. I just picked the shortest people I could find from like 4 different sports and just called it hard over height. Like, and they'd be like a power pop.
Hard Over Height. That's a great name.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say I think Marquise Noel's got like the swagger and the ego to like play lead guitar really well. I think he would make a great lead guitarist. Whenever I think of like a drummer, I'm just thinking of like a big dude for some reason.
I'm thinking of either. I'm probably thinking of Felix Ndeke or Cooper Beebe.
Yeah,
Ooh,
definitely one
drums.
of those 2. Yeah,
Beebe's got the hair for it, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Or he did.
That's
I think
He cut his hair though.
Yeah.
That's lame.
Maybe you can make the case for Ty Zentner as well. Maybe give the kicker some love as well.
Ty Zentner's probably
Who's the long snapper with the mullet? I forget his name. Plattner. Brandon Plattner.
I don't know.
Yeah, he has the mullet. I think that he could fit. He could honestly do anything. He could be a one-man band.
Yeah.
Like he could just go out there just with like the giant like set of instruments on him.
The Mary Poppins instrument.
Yeah, the Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say Ty Zentner might be a bass player. He might be a bass player. Like bass player, somebody who's kind of in the background. He's not about that, trying to get all the light. But yeah, I'm trying to think of another good, like anybody would be a good bass player. Because I was thinking Colin Klein. I don't know why. He just seems like he'd be like, the bass player type dude.
Oh, he has a
quarterback. We'll count it because he's on the starting. We'll count it because he's on the coaching staff.
Okay. I got to come up with a band name though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you can.
Oh man, I don't know if I can come up with one on the spot, especially one that's like good. Because what I got Deuce Vaughn, Marquise Noel, Cooper Beebe, and I'll say Colin Klein.
Oh
man. Here, let me go into random word generator. Here, is there a random band name generator?
Wu-Tang name generator.
Yeah. Random band name generator. All right, let's see what it comes up with. Oh, I have to fill some. Okay, there's so much stuff to fill out. Holy crap!
I am painfully curious as to what it would come up with.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think the name that I came up with, I changed the name and the band after the show to where it was Deuce Vaughn, Deuce Green, Dylan Phillips, and who was the last one? I think it was Duffy. And I said Deuces featuring the Bat Cat.
Yeah. I feel like Christian Duffy would be I think he low-key would be really good in a band.
Absolutely.
Like I could see him being I feel like he'd be secretly a really good singer. Looking at him, I don't know why I have an inclination.
Like a deep baritone.
Yeah, I look at him and I'm like, you know what? He seems like he could be good at singing. Christian Duffy.
I was thinking of what Blake said about Colin Klein is that, well, you got to have the quarterback behind the line. So I was thinking you got to have the bass player behind the ones who are taking the front of the stage clearly. So that's not a bad pick.
Yeah.
At all.
What about Turf Burn? Is that could that be a band name?
Turf burn is
That's a fabulous.
I love it.
Okay,
The
so
turf burn.
on this random band name generator, you have to put in like a bunch of adjectives of like something you want it to be related, which took too much time. So I just do it randomly. And these names are so weird. I think the favorite one I'm seeing right now is the Police Station Revival, because it makes no sense, but it's still kind of catchy.
Revival.
Yeah, like the more you think
That
about it,
sounds like a band that already exists.
yeah.
Like,
Police.
I mean,
It
if you
sounds
wanted to
like-
make one of the K-State defense, it could be the Mob Revival.
Yeah.
That name sounds like a song you would hear at your local Kites Bar and Grill or something like that.
Not
Yeah.
sponsored.
Now
Let's do the
playing it-
Tanner's ad read.
They're playing at Ani Mae's tonight, the Police Station Revival.
I would go see that.
I would as well, actually.
Big enemies. But
Yeah. All right. So that pretty much wraps up the preliminary questions. Now, y'all can join us for the recruiting recap of this week, in which the football team, which is the only thing that we're covering besides one baseball guy, had 4 new commits, 2 transfers, and 2 JUCO guys. And we'll go from the top. And the first commit was Jayden Jackson at like 9:30 at night, where I just looked over at my phone and suddenly there was a guy committed. But Jayden Jackson is a transfer wide receiver from Ole Miss, who ended up canceling his Utah visit after visiting K-State to commit to your Kansas State Wildcats and the new receivers coach, Thad Ward. Now, I'll obviously ask you guys for your opinions in a sec, but the first thing that I noticed about Jayden Jackson, just looking at his high school highlights, was the dude was lightning in a bottle when he was in high school. The man could stop and start on an absolute dime and just did not care. He was faster than you, he was twitchier than you, and he was better than you. Well, that doesn't really explain why he didn't do much at Ole Miss. I believe reeling in a total of 15 catches for 185 yards and a touchdown. Granted, that touchdown was against Alabama, so he's basically the greatest receiver ever.
a TD versus Alabama is worth 2.
It's worth double points.
Yeah, but only if you're a receiver transferring to K-State, then we'll give you that bonus.
There you go. Absolutely. But do you guys have anything on Jayden Jackson? You guys have any opinions on him, like where he's coming from, what you think he's going to do?
I mean, I'll just say, I just hope he can add to a receiving core that, like, I don't know. I feel like they kind of brought this up on the 3-Mod pod that, like, we haven't had like a truly great receiving core since probably like 2014. There's definitely been some talent, Isaiah Zuber and Malik Knowles, but I just feel like it hasn't really ever come together to be, maybe that part of that is, coaching style and the way we kind of run our offense. That's not really receiver friendly, maybe. But it'd just be nice, what he's played 4 games in the last 2 years or something. Like he hasn't had a ton of, playing time. But I mean, like you mentioned, he's super athletic and hopefully he can make an impact.
I think for the most part, when you're looking at some of the wide receivers such as Malik Knowles or Phillip Brooks, they're going to have on or off days, and just the type of variety and options that they have under Courtney Messingham, it just did not come into fruition pretty much last year for K-State. Malik Knowles had some some good moments, some bad moments overall. The LSU game was definitely one to take note of, but adding Jayden Jackson, I mean, he's a really dynamic athlete. He can really get things going in a heartbeat. I think he just really brings a lot more speed and to what K-State hasn't had before.
Yeah, that's where I'm at on Jayden Jackson. He's probably going to step in and be one of the most athletic receivers in the room already. It's not often that you're going to bring an SEC guy from the portal to K-State as a receiver. I mean, I can't think of the time that's happened. But no, there was a point made about, our receiver core not having been very talented for a long time. Like you had to go back to 14, and that was primarily because of Tyler Lockett being like a receiver that exists. And then Curry Sexton had a 1,000 yard receipt. Yeah, he had a 1,000 yard season pretty much because Tyler Lockett was on the other side of the field. Like that's how much of an impact Tyler Lockett had. Like the last time we truly had a very high level receiver room was probably 2012. which was like Chris Harper, Tremaine Thompson, Tyler Lockett, like as your top 3 guys. That's a really good receiver room. Right
Yeah.
And you had, yeah, go ahead. Oh.
Yeah, Jayden Jackson, he'll probably say he's not going to be the number 1 guy immediately, but he'll step in. And if you have Malik Knowles or Cade Warner or someone on the outside, if you want to give Phillip Brooks like 1 snap off, as long as it's not 3rd down, put Jaden Jackson in the slot and let him go to work.
Since Phillip Brooks has 99 to all attributes whenever it's 3rd down.
He is phenomenal.
For no reason. For no reason.
Yeah. What were you going to say, John?
I was just gonna say, I think Chris Harper was also a previous transfer from what has been a strong football program so far in Oregon as well. So adding a pretty big time wide receiver from a big football program in Ole Miss, it could really do you wonders for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You want to do the bit on, we'll switch off, you can do Jordan Wright.
Sure thing. Yep. So another defensive back transfer coming in for the Cats. It seems like half of our transfers are defensive backs nowadays, specifically a corner JUCO guy, Jordan Wright, out of Fullerton College. He held offers from Florida State, was on a visit the weekend he committed to us, and was going to visit West Virginia and backed out of it. I mean, he's a prototypical corner for what this staff likes. Long arms, good size. I think he's like 6'6", about 180. So, definitely not short like the K-State corners of old. And Jordan Wright, I mean, anytime that you beat out Florida State, West Virginia, who's been recruiting to a really high level, that automatically lends credence, I think, to the quality of recruit that you're looking at. So I don't know if you guys have anything else you want to say on Jordan Wright, but I really like him as a pickup, and it's encouraging to win a Power 5 recruiting battle.
Yeah, that's definitely a big win. I'll just say real quick, John, and I'll let you jump in. Just to be able to win in those Power 5, especially when he's on the visit to Florida State and then he commits to a different school a few hours. That is just really weird.
That is embarrassing, but it's so funny.
It's so weird that if somebody visits and they're just like, this is sick, so they just immediately commit to the school they just visited to. It's just really weird. But yeah, I think adding some depth is definitely the key, kind of the big takeaway from all of these. I think our first 22, our starting is pretty solid. If you just look at that, I think we have a seriously potential for, double-digit wins. But, injuries happen, as we know. So you really need to have some depth in these guys. I mean, just generally are really going to help.
I think as well, you just look at the Wildcats secondary overall, and it's just pretty much been depleted throughout the past few weeks. And I think K-State was due to get a big-time transfer. And landing a JUCO All-American, it's a pretty big deal, especially considering, like you said, the options there. I mean, Florida State. I mean, you would. I mean, if you were to tell me you would get a guy to K-State compared to the likes of Florida State and recently West Virginia, I mean that's some pretty high standards. Pretty high standards you're raising right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Just looking at highlights, because that's all you can really get. I would murder someone for all 22. I'm just saying, hypothetically. Just from what I saw of Jordan Wright is just that he was able to play just about every single coverage, and he was able to play it pretty well. He was able to play some press man, some bump and run. He was able to play a little bit of outside corner with outside leverage. I didn't see him playing in the slot, but he's 6'1", so he's probably not going to play in the slot. He's not that. But another position, John, you mentioned that the defensive back room had been kind of depleted. And if there's one room that I see as depleted going into this previous year, and not to upset Scott Wildcat or anything, he's a great friend of the show, Jack Stanine should not be running back too. So we decided that we were going to pick up another running back too, and that is Anthony Frias, another JUCO transfer from Modesto College, and another recruiting battle that we ended up winning against numerous other Power 5 schools. And the number one word that I could come up with is bruiser. The guy runs mad. He runs like you just insulted everyone in his family, and he is going to hurt you. He runs with a purpose. If Deuce is a scalpel, Frias is a hammer. and the hammer swings hard. So, just any thoughts on that?
Hey, I mean, Lightning needs to fight. I think the Deuce and Anthony Frias will really complement each other. I believe that'll give DJ Giddens a chance to redshirt and let that kind of player development continue. And then obviously not having Jackson Dean as your backup running back. No offense to Jackson Dean, who's a boss, but put him at fullback.
I mean, when I first saw him, like a picture, I was like, oh man, that's a bad man. He's gonna. I mean, another word you could probably consider is bolder. I mean, he is a big guy. All conference running back, ran for 851 yards throughout his time over in California. I mean that's a pretty big guy they're getting to add some further depth in the running back room for sure.
I think a good K-State comp for Anthony Frias is probably Harry Trotter, and some people probably will shudder when they hear that, but also keep in mind that he's not RB1 and he's going to be behind a really, really good offensive line, one that has the potential to be the best in the Big 12, I would say, if they reach their full potential. So I think the staff was dead on in getting a guy that's going to come in and immediately make an impact as a total change of pace back to Deuce. You could not be more different than Deuce Vaughn than Anthony Frias is, unless you're like LeGarrette Blount, maybe. Like
1 yard in a cloud of dust, baby, and like 3 Super Bowl rings.
Yeah, Frias, pure power back, really big guy. He may only get 2 or 3 yards, but he also is going to get 2 or 3 yards if you need him to. So like, you have to respect that in a running back. And he's also a willing pass blocker. Bill Snyder would have loved Anthony Frias. Another good comp for that, maybe Alex Barnes. Of course, that's a high ceiling comparison, but it's somebody that has a similar style to Frias.
It's also probably my favorite K-State player because we're from the same town.
Yes.
But so just a hypothetical here. So you have Deuce Vaughn, who is your more scat back type and probably your running back one, who's the shifty one. You have Anthony Frias, who I think instead of Harry Trotter's 2 or 3, he will get a violent 5 pretty consistently. And then Devin Weathers, from what I've heard, is a 1 cut and go back. So you have elusive, you have pain, and then you have 1 cut, which if that's the running back room, absolutely, I'll take it because you have every scheme fit that you need.
And then you just have Giddens, who's just an athletic freak who just does things.
Yeah.
And you know what? Every running back room needs DJ Giddens. Somebody that will just go on the field and maybe one play they're a 1 cut, maybe the next play they're a power back, maybe the next play they're a speed back. Who knows? They'll just go out on the field and they'll just do whatever they need to do. But I'm looking forward to seeing DJ Giddens in the future. I know that's a little bit off topic from Frias slightly, but we keep hearing exciting things about Giddens, and it makes me really anxious to actually see him on the field. I was crossing my fingers that we'd see him at the bowl game, but instead we saw Jordan Shippers get carries late, which is fine. But I was hoping to see Giddens there at the end. But yeah, that can move us into the final transfer from a familiar school as a certain fan favorite, Drake Cheatham. He's a transfer defensive back from Prairie View A&M, and as the outline describes him, he's a genuine center fielder, shades of Russ Yeast, hopefully.
I think he's more athletic.
Which, if that's the case, you're going to absolutely take that because Russ Yeast just had a phenomenal season for the Cats. Just got drafted, as many of you know. He's got great size, comes at the recommendation of one Reggie Stubblefield, and everybody loves him. So what can possibly be wrong with Drake Cheatham? So what are your guys' thoughts on him?
I mean, if he's Sauce Boss approved, I mean,
who are we to disagree?
I
know.
Who
are we to disagree? Who are us mere mortals to disagree?
I mean, I guess the one thing to note, obviously he's at, Prairie View A&M, he's in the SWAC. But I mean, he played against Texas A&M and Houston. I think in those 2 games, 12 tackles in each, and I think he forced a turnover. So I mean, he's been able to make plays in big games. Seems like he's a really smart guy. It seemed like based on what I've heard, he was a leader, kind of in the locker room. Just a film junkie. just seems like an all-around high character guy as well as a pretty good football player. I think he'll be a great addition.
Yeah. John?
Yeah, I think similar to what Blake says, he's gonna likely provide a big boost of confidence to this team, pretty similar to what Reggie Stubblefield did. And I mean, if you're one to go after some talent that you've had before with the likes of Reggie Stubblefield, I think Prairie View A&M is a great way to go towards. And especially when you're considering making smart plays, smart decisions, it ultimately leads you to success. The 2-time first team all SWAC selection, I believe, it's going to be a big pickup for sure for K-State.
Yeah, absolutely. And I put on the outline that he's a genuine center fielder, and I stand by that, but he's a lot more than just your standard free safety. He very well could slide down and play that Reggie Stubblefield role. He could play that true middle of the field safety in a cover 3 and not die on a deep post from Romeo Dubs. And it's just, it really is a versatile piece in a secondary that had a collection of role players and had a collection of people that are, obviously good. You have the outside corners in Echo Island and the Brent's Peninsula and the Breninsula, if you will.
Did you just come up with that?
Yes.
Put it on a t-shirt.
Put it on a t-shirt. Give the NIL money to Julius. But I've actually seen that guy in person, and his arm length it's ridiculous. No human being should be built with proportions like that. But he is quite literally built different. But you have TJ Smith, who's that enforcing safety. You have Sean Robinson, who I think we're kicking down a linebacker.
That's kind of what it's sounding like. At least he's going to play a little bit of linebacker.
Yeah, so basically the Wayne Jones role. Hopefully a little bit more successful. But no offense to Wayne Jones, but he was not a linebacker. So, yeah, it's just another piece to that defensive backfield that he can play that slot role that we'll be missing with that star, jack, joker, whatever you call it, defender in the 3-3-5, more hybrid defense. So I think Cheatham pretty well slots into that almost immediately, which is one of the biggest holes on this team. And now it's filled.
Yeah. Really, really nice pickup for the staff. And it's just another, it's the cherry on top of a great recruiting weekend. One of the best recruiting weekends that K-State's had in a long time, just for quantity as well as quality of prospects. All quality transfers, all instant impact guys. These are all going to be guys that we see on the field next year. Wright will be probably first guy off the bench. Jackson might be in the same role in the receiver room. Frias is going to be Deuce's spell guy. Cheatham, he is either going to start or see the field early and often. So quality pickups across the board.
Absolutely. And if we're lucky, we'll see 3 commits who are also in positions that have back in their name. And I will not be elaborating. But that pretty much wraps it up for football recruiting. But there's still one more sport that we need to cover that had a brand new commit. And that is, of course, the new commit to the Batcats, which is Elgin Bennett Jr., who is a 9.5 rating on Perfect Game, which for the uninitiated, that basically means he should be drafted.
Yeah.
That basically means he's draftable.
If you go on the website, which I was so excited when I found out that there was a place that had baseball recruiting information.
Now you just need to find women's basketball. Yeah, that exists.
Well, ESPN's supposed to have one. They just don't ever update it because they don't actually care. But yeah, Perfect Game. It's a 1 to 10 ranking system. A 9 is a top 10 round MLB draft pick, and a 10 is a future high pick in the draft. So 9.5, you're probably looking at a guy that's projected to go round 5 or 4 or higher. So phenomenal talent out of high school, at least projected to be. His speed score, they do a 60-yard dash, I believe, for baseball combines. And his speed in that was, they do percentiles. He had the 99.87th percentile speed score. So one of the fastest guys available in the entire class. And he's a lefty on top of that. So, and it looks like he can pitch a little bit as well. He's listed as outfielder / left-handed pitcher, which we currently have. Yeah, we have 2.
Hughes loves his hybrids.
Yeah, we have 2 left-handed pitchers on the roster. and include Dylan Phillips in that makes it 3. But he should never have to pitch.
But he does. I think he
Yeah,
leads the team in saves.
Yeah,
He
but
leads the team in whip.
well, that's depressing. But yeah, Elgin Bennett, excellent addition. P. Hughes continues to absolutely kill it on the recruiting trail. Just Batcats have struggled to put it together this year, unfortunately, on the field, at least consistently. I don't know how big of Batcat guys you are, but we're big Batcats fans here at the Aggieville Alleycats. I'm not sure if you guys get out to the games ever or anything like that.
Oh no, John shows up to the games. Oh no, I've seen John at the games. John is a menace at the games.
Love to hear that.
You'll see me show up. You'll see me being a heckler at a few of the games. I was kind of talking some smack at Wichita State a little bit last week, but
I mean, they dropped the quick trip card. I mean, like they kind of had it coming.
Everything's fair game.
If he dies, he dies.
Yeah, all is fair in love and war in quick trip. I mean, when it comes to baseball recruiting, must admit, not an expert. I honestly kind of have a lot of questions. Do you guys know how big like a baseball recruiting class usually is? Like, I don't know how many people usually try to recruit in a baseball class, because obviously this year we got a ton of transfers and we worked the portal a lot.
It wildly varies from what I've been able to tell, based mainly on roster needs and also just where your team is at. Like we're a very, very young baseball team. We have like 3 seniors on the whole roster right now, and one of them is injured. But it looks like for this class, we have 10 guys committed right now for the class of 22.
And I think that's about average.
Yeah, for a high school level, especially in the portal era, you're probably going to see anywhere between like 10 and 15 guys. And because about 3 of them to 4 of them will transfer out after a year. And a few of them will find a home to line up, and the remaining handful are going to try and develop and break through. But in the era of the portal, you're going to pick up a lot of the media contributors through there as well. Dom Johnson, one of the best players on the team, he's a portal guy. Orlando Salinas, another portal guy. Blake Adams and Connor McCullough are both transfers from Arkansas, granted at different times. But yeah, baseball recruiting, it's a very weird sphere because you don't know anything about the recruitment at all until they announce the commitment, pretty much. There's not exactly a big market for insider information on college baseball recruiting, as you may expect.
Yeah.
Who'd have thunk?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's baseball recruiting it's getting easier to follow, but yeah, class is about give or take 10. And honestly, that's been Pete Hughes's best trait as a coach, is he recruits out of his mind. He's kind of like Jeff Mitty.
Yeah.
In fact, they're both of our like main non-rev sports and women's catsketball and Batcats have just absolutely god tier recruiting. And then just on the field or on the court, sometimes it leaves a bit to be desired.
Yeah, mixed bag. But yeah, phenomenal recruiters they are.
Yeah. You were gonna say something, Blake?
I honestly totally. I was just gonna say like I'm kind of like new to the Batcat fandom thing. So Pete Hughes is a great recruiter. He just hasn't been able to put it together his years at K-State so far.
Yeah, because he overmanages games into the next reality.
And sometimes he's aware of that, and then he undermanages games. Like he's
That was always been one of the bigger concerns that I had. I mean, not really managing the situations as well. I kind of look at the pitching side more because, I mean, when I'm seeing a player struggle, I mean pretty consistently, I think it's time for him to go. But I mean, Pete Hughes has some thoughts otherwise, and some of the times it works, some of the times it kind of comes back to haunt them. I'm just kind of thinking of the Cal State Bakersfield series where it just kind of came back to bite us at the end. But I mean, I wasn't fully aware of the baseball recruiting until I saw your guys' tweet about this guy. I think a lefty will come pretty big. Just looking at it, a 9.5 out of 10 grade for a perfect game. I mean, that's a pretty big pickup for K-State. I think it'll also be interesting to see his 2022 MLB draft ranking on is it Prospects Live? Is that right?
I think it's something like that.
Yeah.
I think it's Prospects Live, but it's a big pickup for K-State. So thanks for streaming that out. So I'm aware of that.
No, yeah, no problem. We love the Batcats. I thought it was really strange that out of all of our commitment tweets that day, the baseball one got the most likes by far.
I think it had
Oh,
more likes
really?
than the rest of them combined.
Yeah, the baseball one got like 160, and the rest of them combined got about 160, like at the most. I feel like.
Hang on, I'm checking this.
It was really it was a little out of left field, no pun intended, but yeah,
Heyo.
but yeah, no, you're right, John. Pitching situations are pretty iffy thus far. I do try to keep in mind, keyword, that they're a young team, but it is very frustrating to watch at times when like a guy just gets left out to dry and it's clearly just not his day. And, he just keeps going. And other times he may take a guy out too early and then brings in someone that, maybe he didn't need to make the switch like at that point.
Yeah.
But baseball is a weird game and you're just trying to make the best choice possible. And there's also pitchers we haven't seen yet, like Jackson Wentworth. We're talking about the scale for recruiting. He's a true freshman this year. He was a 10 out of 10 recruit on Perfect Game, and I think was drafted in the 14th round and elected to come to college instead of going to the minors. But he got injured preseason and we've not seen him.
Yeah,
So,
allegedly we would see him this season. I don't think it's gonna
probably
happen.
not happening. I think he's redshirting at this point. No reason to burn his redshirt for the last month or so.
I don't even think it's possible
Yeah.
for him to do so,
Burn his redshirt.
because I think it's still like a quarter of the season.
Is there a redshirt
like-
rule in baseball?
Oh, I don't know actually. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, there's 7 regular season games left, so I don't know if that adds up to anything or not.
Who's to say?
Who
Who's to
knows?
say?
Give him a
Who
straight-
knows?
so,
I'm
yeah.
gonna say it. If you guys don't know, then probably nobody does. So
We leave the baseball expertise to you guys.
If I had a nickel for every single time a K-State podcast had deferred to us on baseball news, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice.
That Doofenshmirtz impression.
Yes.
Dude. Phineas and Ferb. That's my childhood.
oh man.
That was my childhood.
Speaking of summer, we get to talk about the recap of the sport of summer, or as I will always call it, baseball, which is summer sport. I don't care what anyone says. Baseball is summer sport. It owns that. Football is fall. Winter is up for grabs. Don't ask me what fall is. It's probably still football. But we're going to recap the.
Oh, I just said it's always been football in the fall.
Yeah, it's always
Yeah.
football, and basketball's in there somewhere, I guess. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't know where that goes. But we're going to be recapping the Sunflower Showdown for baseball, and we have the stats lined up here. And obviously, we'll tune to you guys for a bunch of thoughts as it goes. This was a series that last week we said was critical to sweep if we wanted a chance at making a regional.
Yep.
Without magic happening in the Big 12 tournament.
Yep.
We won the series.
Yep.
We did not sweep the series.
Yep.
And we lost the first game quite painfully
Yep.
in front of a packed crowd, a packed house, which I feel like most K-State sports have gotten into this bad habit of the most attended games is the ones we lose. Happened
Yeah.
during women's basketball as well. And I think it happened during football season because I think the most attended game, wasn't it like, I think it was Baylor because it was senior night.
Might have been.
Yes,
Well,
John?
I think for men's basketball as well. I mean, it's the
Oh,
same.
God, KU.
team, and
Yeah.
yeah, I'm giving
And Marquette.
PTSD.
KU and Marquette.
all PTSD, but I mean, the KU game last year. I mean, I'm kind of looking. It's like the Spider-Man meme when you're pointing at one Spider-Man, it's pointing right back at you.
Yeah.
Looking at the basketball and the baseball theme was like, oh my gosh, like it just hit me from there. But oh man, that was a rough outing. especially at the ninth inning. I thought K-State had this game sealed up, but just too many mistakes.
Yeah. Which, speaking of, the first game was a 5-3 loss for your Kansas State Wildcats, and Blake Corsentino ends up unfortunately getting pegged with the loss. For the scoring, it started off with a Dylan Phillips homer to dead center field in the first inning. Then in the second inning, Josh Nikoloff ended up hitting a homer to left field, another solo shot. Then KU answered with a single solo shot of their own before Jeff Heinrich capped off the scoring for the Cats with another solo shot to right field. By then, it was all. Oh, Titan, we love you so.
Oh, man.
Oh, also, fun fact, if you go check the K-State box score for this game, go do it now. If you look at weather, it is 66 degrees Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, no wind, open parentheses, 3 exclamation points, close parentheses.
I love that. That is so great.
This is probably the first baseball game at
Twins
K-State
history.
ever to not have any wind.
Yeah.
Every game I go to is like 20 mile per hour wind. Like
And it's always in your face somehow. It doesn't matter where you go.
It could be just blowing to left field. Like if you're in the grandstands, it'll just wrap around the stands and just hit you right in the face. And then you end up with chapped lips for a week. So
Not that one of us knows about that.
uh,
Unfortunately, the rest of the scoring was all KU, including a home run by Michael Ahuna, a single by Michael Ahuna, who advanced Josenberger to score. It's a great name. I can't even be mad at it. And then the final run was scored on a wild pitch. And it wasn't the greatest day. We're not going to go player by player like we normally do because we have guests and it is nice for them to speak.
Yeah, we need to be,
you have permission to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you two have any thoughts on this game? Because the only thoughts that I have are, I wish I could forget it.
I'm gonna just pretty much just quote what Ace said. Just very forgettable at the end, and Maui Ahuna. I mean Maui. That's just an amazing name.
Why did I call him Michael? Why did I call him Michael? Where did I get Michael from?
M name Michael's pretty common.
Maui. It's oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's a town or a village in Hawaii, I think.
Yeah.
It's an island in Hawaii.
It's an island.
And he's actually from Hawaii.
He's from Hawaii, so
it's way
tracks.
That's way too ironic for me.
So it from Hawaii to Kansas. I never understand. I mean, maybe that's like, one of the, I don't know what his recruiting was like, but that's just, I was from Hawaii.
Weird.
And to a bigger extent, he chose that school in Lawrence as well. I mean, there's so many better options.
That's
like
tragic.
Like just generally, whenever I hear anybody's from like somewhere else that's like kind of cool, I'm like, why did you come to Kansas? Like, what did you expect when you came here? Because it's definitely like it's not much. There's not a lot here.
Maybe that's what he wanted.
Man, that's true.
There's a body of water by Lawrence.
What do you mean? They're in the Kansas City metro area, so they're right next to Missouri.
My mistake.
You can see Arrowhead Stadium just like up
yeah.
there.
Well, you would be able to see Arrowhead if there wasn't so much art in the way.
Oh, that'll never get old.
Oh my god.
Then you also got the Capitol building in Topeka out west, but I mean that's also surrounded by art as well. So I mean,
they just love their art.
You can hardly breathe with all the art everywhere.
Yeah, there's just so much.
But back to the game. Back to the game. This was a matchup to forget. We can go over the home runs, of which there were 3 all solo shots. Dylan Phillips, because of course Dylan Phillips hit a home run. Josh Nikoloff, who surprisingly has become just about as good at Dylan Phillips at hitting home runs. And then Jeff Heinrich, who's probably like the 5th best hitter on the team. So
Heinrich, as of late, has been the best home run hitter because he goes out there and
12.
Pete Hughes just tells him swing for the fences or don't swing at all, pretty much. Like Jeff, I swear half of his hits are home runs this year. Like he just comes in, DHs, and we'll just hit 1 or 2 home runs a game. Although I don't want to get too ahead of myself. We saw him in right field on Sunday, and he had a cannon arm. He made a throw from deep right on a catch and threw it no hop to third base from deep right field.
He almost lasered the guy. He almost Ichiro'd the guy at third base.
It was a Yoenis Cespedes throw.
Ichiro just threw something out of Star Wars. Sorry, that's one of my favorite calls of all time. But yeah, any final concluding thoughts on the first game of the Sunflower Showdown?
I was just going to add to your point, Connor, that I just see Jeff Heinrich has 10 home runs on 28 hits, which helps his 744 slugging. Holy crap.
Man.
Yeah, that helps your slugging if like a third of your hits are home runs.
A little bit.
Yeah. His bat is phenomenal. Like the power that he's had. It's been strange to me that we haven't seen more of him all year. I think like the first month of the year, I don't think we saw him at all, really. And when we did, he didn't do anything. And it seems like he's become an everyday guy now as we've gone down the stretch, because we realize he's probably the best hitter on the team, at least most consistent, other than maybe Dom Johnson. But yeah, that moves us into the second game of the series, where the Batcats did come back with a win after dropping the first game 5-2. Once again, getting 10 hits. They had 10 hits, but just 3 runs in the first game. But the second game, they come out with another 10-hit performance, but with 5 runs, 3 of them coming in the first inning. I was at this game, really entertaining game. Actually saw Jayden Jackson and Thad Ward on the recruiting visit at this game.
Yeah, and I saw Will Anstey out at the Friday game.
Interesting. And the football staff making use of the entertainment available on campus.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you'll have to show them art everywhere. Okay, that's the last one.
Another packed house for this game. People were lining the walls down left and right field. People were sitting in the grass down left field as well. I mean, it was completely packed. Dom Johnson had a home run on the second pitch of the game. Jeff Heinrich doubled, and there was a fielding error by right field on this play. Well, what happened was right field, Jeff Heinrich hits like a blooper into like shallow right, but the sun is just peering directly into the eyes of the right fielder, and he just misses a routine play. And then the ball gets past him too. So Jeff Heinrich gets a triple on what normally would be like a blooper out if there were clouds, and ends up scoring Brady Day on that as well. Then Dylan Phillips brings Heinrich in on ground out. Kalen Culpepper adds a monster home run. I think that home run ended up going for like 472.
It was 475.
Was it this day or was it the following? No, yeah. It was the following day. I'm getting ahead of myself. But Culpepper does home run. Dom Johnson adds another for the Cats. KU adds a couple runs in the middle of the game, but most of the runs again come off home runs. I mean, it's a certified Toynton Family Stadium moment, and
it's the Coors Field.
Yeah,
of the Big 12.
Now, go figure. A lot of right-handed hitters hit home runs on this day, since 17-mile-per-hour wind to left. Go figure. But yeah. Really, really nice day. Dom Johnson goes 5 for 3. Brady
3 for 5.
3 for 5. My bad.
I'd be really impressed if he went 5 for 3.
No, he is that good. You don't understand.
Yeah. He's in the dugout. He doesn't even need an at bat. He just gets a hit.
He's just gets a hit. No one's at the plate.
He ganks ABs from other players.
Oh yeah, he'll go up, strike out, and he just goes up again. Like he's pinch hitting for everybody. But I don't know. Were either of you at this game on Saturday? Anybody have any thoughts on the Saturday game? Just thoughts on like coming back after a tough loss the day before.
I was working at that baseball game, so I'll start things off. I mean, it was great to see Dominic Johnson really get things going in the second one when he struggled a little bit on the first game against the Jayhawks. He homered twice. I think you're really gonna have to give credit to Blake Adams as well. He had a quality start as well. It was an important one for K-State. I mean, they had to set the tone and let the momentum in the dugout kick in, and I would say start right out of the gates, and that's what the offense got doing with the bats, and really helped inject the energy into not only the team but the fans as well.
Pump it up.
I love the home run song this year.
Pump it up. I don't know if we were able to get like the Texas Rangers home run song. I mean, that would just. Oh man, that's.
We need to get sponsored by
chef's kiss
Chevy
home
so
run.
we can have the Fox Sports Chevy call to the bullpen. That's a deep callback.
Oh my god.
Oh man, that'd just be a lot of pressure building in on Coach Hughes and staff. When
Yeah.
for sure.
You were gonna say something like?
I mean, I was just gonna add. I mean, like if we get in a situation where we have a game that we need to win, like I want Blake Adams and Herman Fajardo to be the pitchers. I mean, especially the way Fajardo looked against Wichita State, and then today. I mean, dude, oh my lord, he's got some nasty stuff. I don't know if they ever showed the spin rate on his fastball, but I bet it's high. Because I mean, he's throwing like mid 90s, but he's getting people to swing at this whiff all the time. And his slider, ooh, oh my word, it's just so much fun to watch. He's just absolutely electric these past couple games.
I have been loving Herman Fajardo's trajectory this season. It is very reminiscent of Eric Torres last season. They're similar pitchers in their delivery and style, and Fajardo has really come along as the go-to reliever down the stretch, as well as being a midweek starter. Torres was that guy down the stretch last year. I mean, that dynamic duo of Jordan Wicks for like 6 or 7 innings and Eric Torres to pitch whatever was left. I mean, as an opposing team, what do you do against that?
Cry about it.
Yeah.
That's what happened most of the time. Yeah, and that's not taking anything away from Blake Adams. I mean, 8 strikeout, 2 earned runs, 6 1/3 performance. I mean, that's a high quality start. Love to see that from Blake. Get back on the horse after a few weird weekends where he was coming out of the bullpen. And I'm glad that he's back on the starting lineup now at this point. But yeah, I'm loving what I'm seeing from the Blake Adams Herman Fajardo combination.
That's a great combination right there. I did notice a change when it came to the pitching as well. It just seemed as if Fajardo just really got a lot more speed. I mean, he preserved victory with 2 2 2/3 hitless innings of relief. So when it looked like KU was kind of getting back into things, when Blake Adams was pitching late in the contest, it was great to see. Herman Fajardo seal the deal. I always get mixed up. Herman. I mean, I'm just confident. I leave that to Blake. Blake is just. I mean, he'll try he'll try to just scan it, and he's gonna try and name it as best as possible.
I'd like to think I'm like pretty good with pronunciations for the most part. I definitely give it a good try. But
and you and I shared a Spanish class, so I hope you can pronounce Herman.
Yeah. I mean, I can roll my R's, you know.
I can.
Well, I mean, Fajardo in this game, he was super confident too. I mean, there was that one at bat, he was just throwing sliders right in the fastballs right in the strike zone, and he was just like, try to hit this, and they still couldn't. I mean, he knew he was on. And it was just, I mean, it was really fun to watch. This was a huge win, you know, just to force a rubber match on Sunday, because, you know, you obviously want to play in the Big 12 tournament, even if you're the 8th seed, just to have a chance to, you know, raise some hell, because, you know, might as well.
Yeah.
Just mess around in the Big 12 championship and then make your way into the NCAA tournament. I think that has to happen.
Why not us? Why not us?
Well, there's probably a lot of reasons, but why not us?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, if it's not going to be icy cold Rothermel, who I haven't seen in several weeks, I think he might be hurt. But just the situations that they put Rothermel in, and he just said okay, and then solved the problem was kind of ridiculous. And I haven't seen him in months, so I assume he's hurt. But there's a reason I call him ice cold. But the next game was the rubber match of the Sunflower Showdown in what seemed like a speed run to get the game over with. The time in this game was 2 hours and 19 minutes. They were speed running this game.
Yeah.
It, like, because you and I were sitting there, it's like, oh, it's the ninth inning.
Yeah, we did not realize it was the ninth inning until until people started clapping, like as they do late in the like late in the game when like they're trying to like cheer on the pitcher. We were like, why are they doing that? Oh, it's a ninth inning. We should be clapping too, actually. So,
well, not only clapping, but you got to do the woo.
Woo!
Yeah,
right. That's right. I
like that.
I was working for K-State HDTV in that game, and I noticed as well the game was going a lot quick. Even during the timeouts, they were kind of rushing things a little bit as well. I was kind of working the commercials and all, and like right before about to go on, there's like 10 seconds left on this commercial. It's like, hurry up, come on.
Cut it.
Wait, was Will directing, John? I highly doubt it because it was such a fast game.
Yeah,
he was.
Yeah, he
my
was.
Gosh. So Will is like a student director for some of the games. All the games he does are super duper long. Every game he does is like 3.5 hours. So like, I guess he's just redeemed himself with like just a real quickie.
He couldn't make it. He couldn't make it the day before, which our director Andy Leaves took over.
Yeah.
Brian Smoller, who was calling the game, was like, and Will was supposed to be directing this game. Hope you can get well soon. And then the day later, Will comes back. Is like, oh, you're back. Well, he should have told us about what happened. Is some of the actions and all. It's great. It's great.
I sent that clip to Will. He was quite touched. It's a touching moment.
I know Andy has been. Well, Andy was trying to send them, but I always saw them as in GIFs and all that stuff.
He tried to send a video as a GIF, but GIFs don't have audio, which completely ruins the point of sending it. And then he tried to, and then he sent it again. It didn't have audio. Like it just says he's deleted 3 messages, and I was scared. I tried to put it in the group chat, but I didn't want to look like an idiot and have to delete a message. But he got it eventually. I mean, that was kind of a whole tangent, but he saw it eventually. So,
and we ended up on the TV. We ended up on ESPN Plus.
Right.
Yeah, I think my mom or my dad like just sent me a picture of Ace and I just like being like the lone 2 people in our section at the 7th inning.
And I was looking real happy to be doing
I looked like I was like looking for people that like might like catch me wabashing.
Help me. But yeah. Anyway, this was a 6-3 victory in favor of your Kansas State Wildcats in a game that we weirdly got out hit, but okay, yeah, they scored that one a hit, but it should have been an error. There was a play in center field in which I yelled tree at the perfect time, and the center fielder forgot how to catch a baseball. At least that is the story I'm telling myself. He definitely did not misjudge it off the bat. So, but yeah, this was a game that K-State was actually down going into the 5th inning because it started off with a Jeff Heinrich homer, because of course it did, before KU hit got their own run on a fielding error by Jeff Heinrich, who almost redeemed himself by hosing the guy at second base.
Yeah, that was the big lesson from this game on Sunday, was that Jeff Heinrich should be the everyday right fielder, because he has just an absolute cannon on the right arm. I mean, he should be playing out there every day, unless he just got like some horrible like error rate in practice or something like that. But I mean, like he has the biggest arm on the team out of any outfielder. It's not even particularly close either.
Yeah. Then The next runs were scored by Josenberger on a sac fly in the 5th inning for KU. And then the rest, it was all Cats, with Dylan Phillips doubling home 2 runs, those being Jeff Heinrich and Brady Day, before Nick Goodwin ended up hitting a called shot by you, which you've called a lot of home runs, where you said Nick Goodwin is just going to hit a bomb here, and then he did. And then Kalen Culpepper in that same inning hit a 2-run, another bomb that scored both him and Cole Johnson, which capped up the scoring at 6-3 in favor of the Cats.
Yeah, this was the Culpepper 475 shot that was just
moon shot.
Yeah, like there's the home runs at Toynton where they come off the bat and you're like, and then the wind carries them like an additional like 40 feet and they just kind of get out. And then there's the ones that get out and like they come off the bat and you're like, all right, bye.
All right, bye.
Yeah.
Gone forever, I guess.
Yeah. That was the difference between the Goodwin and Culpepper ones, because the Goodwin one, like you could pretty much tell, but like it wasn't a sure thing till it was over the fence. Culpepper's was long gone off the bat, I felt. But yeah, it was entertaining game, a quintessential Batcats game where, you know, they score all on home runs and then like a freak like missed fly ball by the center fielder, which granted, it was a very, very high pop up in the shallow center, and it was a very cloudy day. So, you know, I do not envy the job of that center fielder.
I think the best part was just how confidently he was camped under it. Like he had his glove lined up and everything. And then you can see the exact moment that it dawns on him that he is not in position to make the play, because every muscle in his body moves at once and none of them move in the same direction.
Yeah, he did not notice till the 11th hour, and he misses the ball by probably like 3 or 4 feet. And
poor guy.
No, it was a tough scene. And Phillips was upset with himself that he got under that, because he like slammed his bat down. And I was like, I face palmed when it happened too. I was like, man, like we really needed a hit there, like to bring at least one guy in, because like I don't want to get late into this game down. But just luck. Just pure luck, and Heinrich and Day come around, and that's a great example of good base running. Like always run it out on 2 outs, even if it's like a routine play for an outfielder. You never know when someone's going to be stupid and to your advantage. So
that's also that's another T-shirt. You never know when someone is going to be stupid to your advantage. That's a T-shirt.
That's not a T-shirt. That's a life philosophy right there.
That's just, you pay extra for a really long like license plate. No, you just get a decal sticker.
It's like the guy running in Forrest Gump. It happens Sunday. That's another poll, but yeah, this was a just pretty good day all around. Heinrich went 3 for 4. We had doubles from Dylan Phillips. I think that was the error. And then home runs by Jeff Heinrich, because of course it was Nick Goodwin earning that second part of his name in Goodwin, and then Kalen Culpepper peppering one to center field. And then the lone error being Jeff Heinrich, who again almost redeemed himself by absolutely sending one just directly to the Star Wars Death Star laser. So
that one got out of the atmosphere pretty quick.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again. Yeah. What do y'all have any thoughts on this game? Just the final Batcats game before the series against Baylor upcoming. I think starts Friday, tomorrow, today, when the episode comes out. Oops.
Yeah.
Oops.
The magic of the movies. Anyway, I mean,
your immersion.
I mean, it would have been nice to sweep KU. We probably should have swept them because they're not great. But you still get the win as long as you can hold serve, with whatever KU's doing. The best teams in the Big 12 are behind you. You got a chance to get some wins. Baylor, West Virginia, we'll see how they go, especially, on the road. It's going to be tough because it's a totally different team, not at Toynton.
I forgot.
I guess I was going to ask this to start off. Do you guys think Culpepper will do you guys think Culpepper will move up in the lineup? He's been batting like 9th. He had a pretty good series last weekend.
He was batting second last week.
Yeah, last week. there was like a 3 to 4 game stretch where we had him in the 2 hole, And I was like, this is interesting. And then we moved him back to 9. I was like, okay, forget about that, I guess. But, we get Baylor at home this weekend. And then we have a one-off game at Virginia Tech for reasons. And then we close out regular season at West Virginia. So I'd like to see Culpepper move up a little bit in the lineup. We're getting to the point where we may need to move Dylan Phillips down a little bit more because he has not really been hitting particularly well recently. Hasn't hit a home run in a while. A lot of the young guys on the roster, sans Jeff Heinrich, who is really, really old, they've been hitting quite well recently. I've been really impressed with some of the younger guys. Goodwin's really been finding his stride recently. He, through 2 years, has come off to me as the type of guy that's going to be playing his best baseball at the end of the season. And that's kind of how it was last year. He really was going off by the time we got to the tournament, which, if you're going to play, if you have to pick a time to if you're not going to be consistent, you have to pick a time. The best time is probably towards the end of the year. So, but I'd like to see Kalen move up at maybe around 6-ish. Right now, drop Nikoloff a little bit, maybe Johnson a little bit, because Johnson and Nikoloff do have some power and they can be reliable. So they still have some utility down there. But Culpepper's just been so red hot recently. I'd like to see him move up.
Even defensively too. I was just gonna say he's been making some crazy plays.
Yeah, fun fact: Kalen Culpepper's a natural shortstop instead of a third baseman, which led to me at the beginning of the year asking Nick Goodwin and Kalen Culpepper to switch positions, but that's neither here nor there. But I have a theory that it's actually just a dice roll every single time. Like Pete Hughes just has a 9-sided die. He's like, all right, where's Kalen going to hit today? I guess he's hitting in the 8-hole again.
Tough luck for Kalen this year. He's batted 9 and 8 a lot. So
he got on a good run when he was batting second for a while. Maybe it's by series.
Maybe so.
Yeah, that pretty much wraps up on that. John, you have anything to wrap up the series?
Nothing really much else. I'm just kind of thinking a little bit more of, what happens if the center fielder for KU was able to not make the mistake and actually think smart for once. I'm just thinking that could have been a whole different ball game because I'd put KU right back up at the plate. So it was fortunate for that to happen. It really did change over the game. With Casey starting to rack up more and more hits as a game was nearing to an end as well. So big series win, definitely one you needed when it comes to the Big 12 race, and really an opportunity to seal your spot for Arlington with Baylor this weekend.
Yeah. So that pretty much wraps up the recap for the baseball stadium. And now we're going to move into the second consecutive wacky segment of the week, because we know everyone has missed it. Looking at analytics, not everyone has missed it.
We've missed it.
We've missed
it here.
We've missed it. It's left a hole in my heart. But it looks like Memphis, with Connor's favorite stadium on earth, where I was willing us to go for a bowl game at the famous Liberty Bowl. It looks like, at long last, the Liberty Bowl is getting renovations.
Finally. What a dumpster fire of a stadium that is. There is exactly one stadium on the continent that is worse than KU's Memorial Stadium, and it is the Liberty Bowl, but no longer, because it is getting a major facelift. I think it's projected to be around $200 million renovation to the Liberty Bowl, and it looks phenomenal. I mean, it's like a perfect city stadium. I feel like it'd look a little bit weird if it was I don't know, us or Washington State, because it'd be out of place, but it's in a pretty large city, so it makes sense. It looks like a spaceship on the outside.
The bowl.
Yeah, have you guys seen the renderings?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of a UFO spaceship a little, something like that. But I mean, for Memphis, this is definitely something you have to put into consideration, especially looking long term into the future with the ever changing landscape of the college football world and where Memphis is in terms of like wanting to make its case to join the ever changing Big 12 at this point. So it's a great move for Memphis, great move for former K-State associate athletic director Laird Beach, who's now the AD at Memphis. So he's doing some great stuff over there.
It's not the Death Roomba, but that's the nickname for that like two people on Earth, including me, have called Vegas' stadium, just the Death Roomba.
The Raiders stadium.
Yeah.
When I was looking at it, like while I was in construction, like it was, they didn't have the paint onto it yet. So when I looked at it, I was like, oh, it kind of looks like a toilet. But then they kind of out of a overall black texture as well, just kind of giving it like a grimace looking appearance overall. So I always think of that stadium as pretty cool. I mean, SoFi Stadium, we flew over by SoFi Stadium. That place is ginormous. It covers so much real estate. But going back to Memphis, it was just really about time that the dumpster fire, known as the Liberty Bowl, it finally gets renovated, because I'm sure, I mean, even John Kurtz had a terrible seat in the press box. So I mean, it was long overdue. Long overdue.
Tough scene.
Yeah.
Blake, do you have any thoughts on it before we guess the final question in regards to, and that's this, the question is what makes it the wacky segment of the week.
Okay. I mean, my apologies for my ignorance, but you guys might have to fill me in on what makes the Liberty Bowl Stadium like so bad. I don't know if we have enough time, but
so we'll tell a few stories.
Okay.
So let's say hypothetically that we had a friend who was at the Liberty Bowl in 2019. Let's say hypothetically, right? In this hypothetical world where this happened. Let's just say that hypothetically it was raining on that day. Let's say that it was raining one day, then they were practicing on the field, right? And let's say hypothetically some of that rain leaked through the concrete bleachers into the locker room. Let's say hypothetically that happened. This is all obviously hypothetical. We don't know, but let's just say that this happened multiple places in the stadium. I don't understand how, of course, hypothetically, I don't understand how concrete leaks unless you have really bad structural damage.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
It's an old stadium. There's not a lot of great vantage points. The seats are really uncomfortable. The press box is awful from everything that we've heard from every member of the media to ever be in the press box. And
yeah.
And then just in general, it's just not a very good venue. It's old, peeling, like run down, just
concrete.
Yeah, it's just a really bad stadium. It's like if KU's Memorial Stadium was a full bowl and worse. And it just really,
you can't say that because the Liberty Bowl, I'm pretty sure, has bathrooms.
That is true. They're not good. They're pretty bad, actually. But they do have plumbing in the stadium, which is, I guess, an upgrade. That's sad.
Yeah.
But
oh man,
horrible stadium. But it's getting a major renovation, and I think it's pretty obviously, like John said, they're gearing up for another run at Big 12 membership for the next round of realignment. Which, I mean, I don't know. We could speculate all day about who is going to be.
Oh, we bringing back realignment episodes? You going to bring that evil on us again, Connor?
Well, it can't get worse, can it?
Don't say that.
I am a realignment guru when it comes to this type of stuff. So I was kind of referring to the Memphis stuff a little bit. I was gonna say, Ace, before you say that, I was like, but I was going to pull up this question. It's like, does Memphis actually have bathrooms and not porta potties at their stadium or something like that? I don't know.
I'm sure they have bathrooms.
They do.
They actually have bathrooms.
They're not good. They're bad, but they are bathrooms.
Their
Which,
bathroom.
that is the floor. That is the floor.
They are one of the
I mean-
bathrooms of all time.
Every squirrel finds a nut. So
Exactly. But here's the question that makes it the wacky segment of the week. There are one of two possible theories that could explain why Memphis decided to renovate their stadium. I'm going to ask you which theory you subscribe to, and think very carefully about this because it is a very complex question. This is what we call in academia a level 3 question. So, did they do it because A, they want to gear themselves up to give themselves more prestige for another round of getting into a Power 5 conference and leaving the American? Or B, did they listen to the Aggieville Alleycats and hear that Connor Balthazar hates the Liberty Bowl more than he hates just about anything else on this earth and decided we must rectify this great sin?
I know which one I subscribe to. Choose your answers carefully.
Choose your answers carefully. And no, it can't be a combination of both. This is a binary choice.
Okay.
And this will determine of whether or not you're ever invited on the show again.
I'll just point out that they're already doing some steps to not necessarily join the Big 12, but just kind of they a couple months back they just became a Research One institution. So I don't know. The Liberty Bowl is an absolute dumpster fire, and hearing some thoughts from oh man, just seeing the reactions from the Liberty Bowl, especially yours. They probably listened to it. I don't know.
I think they have a absolute.
I'm pretty sure they have. I'm pretty sure they have.
They probably have an A+ PR team, and they're just like, dude, we found this guy who thinks our stadium sucks, and they're just like, oh,
well, no,
God.
Well, then
we just realized.
Great answer.
Well,
Great
then-
answer.
Great answer.
You guys can come back whenever you'd like.
We're the
It's
Family Feud guys. Like, great answer.
It's like a self-reflection. Like once when they saw your podcast, they just had to look into a mirror. It's like, what am I? Like,
What are we doing?
What are we doing here?
You're not Big 12 material.
You gotta step it up, guys.
It's like, and then the construction's actually just a training montage for the Liberty Bowl. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up all of the content. Oh, nope, John, unless you have more content.
Oh, I was just gonna make this one last funny remark. You know, some of you abandoned Disney World or Disneyland theme parks.
Yeah.
That is what I think of the Liberty Bowl. Just completely run down. Not nothing amusing at all. Just a lot of sadness.
Yeah, except they play football in there on a like multiple times a month in the fall. Crazy
And
what
they get a
they're
bowl
doing
game.
to their athletes.
And they get a bowl game.
They do. They get a bowl
Yeah, they
game.
have a ball game there. That just is like
they get
next
the Liberty
level
Bowl.
weird.
You know what? Playing the Liberty Bowl in such a terrible, awful stadium, I think Memphis hates the troops.
It's the first responders Liberty Bowl.
It is. Why would they stick the troops in such a depressing venue?
No, wait, no. It's AutoZone. It's AutoZone.
Oh, it's the AutoZone Liberty. So why does AutoZone hate the troops? Hard-hitting journalism from the Aggieville Alleycats and the Shake and Blake show, as always.
I have here in this letter 20 bowl sponsors that hate the troops, but I'm not going to tell you them.
But Collegiate needs to get us on a part-time job.
McCarthyism.
It's McCarthyism all over again.
We are the McCarthys of college football.
I don't know if that's a distinction that we want.
I don't want that one, but I guess we have it now.
My bad.
We've gone down a really dark rabbit hole here.
Yeah, that pretty much wraps up all of the content for today's episode. And I'll just do the outro and then you guys can get the final words of the episode. So thank you all so much for listening to this episode of the Aggieville Alleycats featuring our wonderful guests at the Shake and Blake Show. Please be sure to listen to them and us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere that you get your podcasts. And my personal recommendations are the first episode of the Willie's Archive series, which is covering the 98 Nebraska game, which had the totally legit tackle. Don't ask questions. That guy wasn't a face mask. That guy didn't even have a face mask. That's how legit the tackle was.
Yeah, it was so long ago.
Clear as mud.
Yeah. But thank you all for listening to this episode. If you want to contact us, please feel free to contact us at Aggieville Alleycats on Twitter. That's capital A, and capital C in cats. If you want to email us, we're AggievilleAlleycats@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on a more personal note, I am at ACEdward00.
I am at Connor Baltasar, capital C, capital B.
And if you want to support the Aggieville Alleycats financially, please be sure to visit our official Aggieville Alleycats merch store where we have such designs as Play Sandstorm Cowards, Neon Alleycats, and Doomtang Clan. But most importantly, let's give the final words to our wonderful guests, John Grove and Blake Crawford of the Shake and Blake podcast. Feel free to plug your show, plug your socials, and just tell everyone one last time what you're all about.
Well, I mean, first of all, thank you guys for having us on. It's been a real pleasure. I guess personally, you can follow us on Twitter at Shake and Blake 312. We're on anywhere you get your podcast, just Shake and Blake. We've done a few rounds of trivia on Sporkle. You can go to sporkle.com, look up K-State Sports Trivia. Round 1, 2, or 3. I've also done ones where you can try and get all of the the All-Americans for football and basketball. If you're looking for those will just be in the description of any episode that we've done. I don't think there's anything else for us to plug. We're not going to do an episode. This will just be our episode for the week with y'all. I'm moving up to Michigan for an internship, so I got to get set up there. We'll probably do something next week, John, and figure it out from there. But you got anything else, John?
Cats by 90.
Cats by 90.
Cats by 90.
Ema.
That's right.
All right, as always, thank you all for listening, and we'll stay safe, Alleycats.